You've been in the game for an extremely long time. Where did you discover your talent?
Like a lot of other people, I started off going to ballet. And someone came and did it in South Africa, and they told me that I would never be a ballet dancer. And I remember once I got cast in a movie and someone said, "Don't tell him you've never done a film. Don't tell him. Don't tell the director."
It seems like you've done a lot of international work. And it seems like that's where you seem to play, like Black Sails.
Black Sails was an extraordinary project. It was in Cape Town, and they hired the entire Cape Town studios. Because it's a period drama, you're in makeup for 4 hours. They speak to you before the next episode's written.
Okay.
And you discuss your character
Yeah.
and what you think. I always say that as an actor, the more general knowledge you have,
Yeah.
the better actor you are.
You're also a voice coach.
You know, I coached all sorts of actors to be American. Thuso Mbedu, I taught her how to be American.
Thuso.
Yes.
You taught her how to be American.
Well, you know, American accent.
Yes.
I taught Trevor
Oh, wow.
to do all his accents. And then I teach American or British actors to be South African. So I teach in every sector. Business, I teach pastors, I teach lawyers, I teach doctors. Because your voice is like a fingerprint. It tells you everything about a person.
I'm an African. Everybody's an African. Feels good, right? Feels good. Feels good. Feels good. It feels good every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. It feels good every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. I'm from the continent of refugees and rebels, where minds are richer than all rupees and marbles. Life at its best, view it from all angles. No longer do we wear shackles, but life's bangles. AIDS increases, the poverty's in levels. Where flowers blossom every day in hard grovel. Traditional acts just brings out the marvel. In every African's heart filled with sorrow. Wait for tomorrow, but the road remains narrow. African minds sharp like bow and arrow. We're aiming for higher places, man, I tell you. Communication through rhythms until I see you.
Good day, and welcome to another epic episode of Filmatic. Before the lights on stage or on set start to shine, there is an electric energy of passion, risk, and creativity. And our next guest has been at the center of this energy. And her name is Fiona Ramsay. From co-founding the Troupe Theatre Company with Richard E. Grant and Henry Goodman to performing in the iconic Metamorphosis with Steven Berghoff, Fiona has also pushed boundaries. Her West End success led her back to South Africa, where she has helped shape the next generation of artists and took on roles that captivated audiences. And now, we honor an unrelenting force of theatre, a queen of stage and screen, Fiona Ramsay.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Oh,
It was quite an intro.
I had to. When I saw who's coming, I had to make sure that it is as epic as she is. No, thank you so much. Are you ready to go?
I am.
Let's get this party started. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Very good.
It's so great to have you on here. Man, I'm just thinking of the best place to start, and I already know. Actors are the athletes of the heart. Please break this down to me.
So, I mean, we all know, we're all familiar with how athletes have to train to be fast or to be agile and to be strong. And the actor has to train. A lot of people think it's just natural, but you're an athlete of the heart, of emotion. And that requires an extraordinary amount of technique. You know, your heart, your emotions go through a lot, and you need to exercise it. So you need to go and see other people's work. You need to laugh. You need to cry. You need to allow yourself to feel.
You've been in the game for an extremely long time. Where did you discover your talent? What event or moment was it that was like, this is what I'm going to do?
So like a lot of other people, I started off going to ballet, thinking I was going to become a ballet dancer.
Okay.
Now that's athletics. You really need to be athletic for that. So It was at a time when in Russia, everyone went to the ballet school if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And the state paid for it. And they started to realize that they were training people who were never going to become dancers. So they developed a way of measuring with calipers. Yeah, they measure the width of your wrist in relation to the length of your thigh bone and whatever. And someone came and did it in South Africa, and they told me that I would never be a ballet dancer.
Okay.
So I decided to do Spanish dancing, which was much more kind of expressive. And I did that. But in my final year at school, I was at St. Mary's School in Johannesburg. I directed the school play, which was about Anne Boleyn. And the night of the plays happened to fall on the night of the St. John's Matric dance.
Okay.
So my leading actress pulled out at the last moment. I think that the lure of a kiss on the cricket pitch or whatever it is was better than the lure of the stage. So I went to the headmistress and I said, I can't do it. We have to pull out. She said, no, you play it. And honestly, I went on that stage, and because I'd been involved in the costumes, the design, the direction, everything, the choice of music, I felt like I was sailing. I felt like I was flying in that performance. I won Best Actress, and I was about 15, and I just said, this is what I want to do.
Wow. What year is all this? What's going on in the country?
A long time ago.
Who were just growing up, who were your acting influences growing up? Who were the artists that really moved your soul?
So, it was a difficult time in South Africa, as one appreciates. It was a very divided time. And one was hugely aware of one's privilege, even as a young child. My father was the editor of the Rand Daily Mail. And so we were constantly aware of, he was surveyed a lot of the time. We had people sitting outside our house all the time. So I was very aware of the situation. A lot of young people weren't, and I went to Cape Town. So I was aware that a lot of the icons that we like, that influenced my life were overseas people. Because a lot of overseas actors came here. But Mercedes Molina, who was my Spanish dancing teacher, she was one of the first people that taught me discipline. She was inspirational. But I can't say that I ever really had a local icon when I was younger. It was more Glenda Jackson. That was the era of Judi Dench, Maggie Smith, those sort of people. They were the ones that influenced us. And we thought we were 100 times better than them.
And the craft itself, what does acting mean to you as an art, and as an expression?
I think, if you're going to be an artist of any kind, you really have to be extremely honest with yourself. I think that's one of the hardest qualities, or the hardest thing that you have to be, because you'll never get any better. John Cleese once said, you have to be fairly intelligent to know how good you are. If you're not intelligent, you can't know how bad you are. Do you know what I mean? So I think that with that honesty comes a sense of saying, well, I need to know. So the craft of acting really, I find it kind of totally, I use every single fiber of my being when, in rehearsal, in acting. It's kind of, it requires engagement of muscles, of mind, of, body, soul, everything, which is why it's such why I love doing it.
Wow, absolutely incredible. And do you believe that you were destined to be an actress, like from birth? Like you knew it from way back that this is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
I kind of think so, although I was terribly shy. I mean, a lot of people say, you shy, never. But I was really, really very shy. And so I never thought that I'd be able to do it.
Yeah.
But I always was full of make-believe at home. And in fact, I was going through a whole lot of programs that I found that I used to go to theatre when I was at school. And I found a program of, I think it was, I can't remember who it was, but Toby Cronje, I think it was, and some real veteran actors.
Yeah.
And I used to make notes in my program, even at the age of 12, 10, 12. And I'd say, poor voice. needs to work on his voice. And honestly, if I think about it now, or then I say, this person's got very good presence. So I think I was aware of it, and I wanted to understand what it was, how you had to get better. So I think I've always been like that.
Oh, wow. And now your varsity-wise, I mean, we call it film school. I'm not sure.
We call it drama school.
There we go.
Yeah. So it was UCT. I went to UCT. Drama schools go through these phases where Wits becomes the best school to go to, and then UCT is, and then Rhodes is, and all that sort of thing, depending on what, practitioners you have and who comes out of it, the alumni that come out of it. But I was part of a very, very, very good year. All of the people have remained in the theatre and in the industry. And on the first day, I met Richard E. Grant.
Oh, wow.
Who was then Richard Esterhazen.
Okay.
Yes. And he changed his name. But I met him and he said to me, do you want to go out? On the first day I was there. And I said, yeah, sure.
Okay.
And everybody else was going to concerts. We went to the opera.
Oh.
And people laughed at me. They said to me, oh my goodness. So, and we forged a theatre company together. So UCT was very exciting. It was also great to be away from home. And Cape Town then was like a little village. It was like a little town. It wasn't the metropolis it is now. And so it was a great place you could hire a theatre for 5,000 Rand a week and do a show and take the
5,000 Rand a week.
A week. Now you're looking at something like between 35 and 50,000 a week.
Wow.
So it was possible in those days to make work quite cheaply.
I see.
And take the risk, especially since you were getting an allowance from your parents, probably, while you were at university. But we went on to do that, and we had an ethic that everybody got paid the same in the company.
Okay.
No matter whether you were the costume designer or the thing, and I think it was a good ethic to have. So I was part of them. Neil McCarthy, Sean Taylor, all of those people who are all still working.
Wow, that's amazing. What exactly does a theatre company do?
A theatre company produces plays and productions and maybe creates them. Since my early work with Barney Simon, a lot of the South African method is theatre making.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily take a text and reinterpret it, which is very Western. It's a very Western, Shakespeare and all the classics. So, and that is very exciting. You take something from your daily life, something you encounter in the newspaper or something you see, and you make plays. And I mean, that's what the wealth of South African history of plays, like Woza, Albert, Asalamali, all of that, Wopa. I mean, it's all created in the rehearsal room.
That's true.
It's not taking someone else's ideas. So it's a very vibrant form of theatre.
Brilliant. And then your transition into screen, when does this start to happen? When are you discovering screen? And I'm like, okay, I'm also going there.
So when I was at drama school, it was basically a theatre school. That was it. They didn't do film, they didn't do radio. Because of how the industry's changed, I mean, actors mostly come out of drama school and go into soap operas or dramas, but mostly soaps. And so it has to include film training now. But I cut my teeth in the industry. And I remember once I got cast in a movie and someone said, don't tell him you've never done a film. Don't tell him. Don't tell the director. And he met me at the swimming pool and he said, well, you just run the lines. And he went away and I started shouting so he could hear me. And he turned around and he said, and he was quite a well-known filmmaker, Afrikaans filmmaker. He said, Fiona, you've never been before a camera, eh? I said, no, I have. He said, no, you don't have to shout. We've got a microphone. So, but you cut your teeth, actually on the job.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes is the best.
And what was your first screen role?
It was a play called Nobody Cries Forever, or in German, Niemand weint für immer. Because it was in German as well. And Elke Sommer was in it, who was a German actress. And I played a brothel owner. Oh. And I was 22. I always looked much older than I was. I was a baby. I grew up with being the baby with two older brothers. So I was tough.
I can imagine.
I was tough. You had to learn how to stand up to those boys and their friends and everything. So I was quite bossy.
Oh man, incredible. You're also a voice coach.
Mm-hmm.
What is okay, I'm sure it's pretty self-explanatory, but please let us know what happens in your job as a voice coach.
So when I started acting, the way into my characters, or the way that I like to approach character, is through the voice. So I find the character's voice first.
Okay.
The voice is informed. I mean, you don't realize it, but I could tell you in a one-on-one situation, whether you were the baby in the family, the oldest, the middle child. I could tell you whether you'd been to a co-educational school, or a private, or a single-sex school, because your voice is like a fingerprint. It tells you everything about a person. And it was quite interesting, because when the Oscar Pistorius trial was on, I worked with a voice therapist and a psychologist and me. And we used to analyze Oscar Pistorius's voice through the trial, and then meet on certain sections. And then we'd meet and we'd try and discern whether he was being truthful or not through the indicators of the voice.
Oh, wow.
It was fascinating. And interestingly enough, we all came to the same conclusion, but for very different reasons. So the voice has always fascinated me. So being a voice coach is really, you empower people to do anything. So I teach in every sector, business, I teach pastors, I teach lawyers, I teach doctors, because it's all about communication. So, and teachers always lose their voices, and they have to give up teaching because sometimes they have used their voice to keep children quiet. And it's very interesting because we have much more vocal damage in teachers now than ever before, because students are much louder.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And there's so much evidence in that. There's so many studies into it. So voice coaching, but then part of voice coaching is teaching actors how to find range and resonance and accents. And that's a big part. The accent became a big part of, I coached all sorts of actors to be American. Thuso Mbedu. I taught her how to be American.
Thuso.
Yes.
You taught her how to be American.
Well, American accent. And then I taught Trevor to do all his accents. And he had a very good ear, I have to say. And then I teach American or British actors to be South African.
Wow. I saw that you've become the go-to person for international films. I've got some of the names. So you've worked with Idris Elba, Hugh Jackman, Naomi Harris, Denzel Washington, Jennifer Hudson. Wow. How did you build such an incredible reputation with major productions?
So I remember when I was first asked, it was for a film called Stunder. It was about the Stunder gang. I don't know if you remember.
I remember Stunder, he was robbing banks.
Yes.
Yes.
So they cast an American as Stunder. They cast a Cockney as his best friend and an Irishman as the Afrikaans guy. So they came to me and they said, do you think you'll be able to do accents? I'd never worked on a film before. I said, yes. And so I devised a way of teaching accents on the job while I was doing it. And it was very interesting because I used an accent which was closer to American. I used his derivative sounds like he was American. And the guy that was Scottish or Irish, he had to be Afrikaans and very Afrikaans. Can you see, for they had the same role? So why I differ from other voice coaches is I don't just teach an accent. I choose an accent, a local accent, and we've got many, that their sounds approximate. And I do that even with Thuso and the American accent. So that's the kind of the thing.
At Macho, we believe that storytellers change the world, and we would like to give you the right tools to accomplish this mission. For all your gear rental needs, go to www.macho.co.za or send us an email at rentals@macho.co.za. That's amazing. I need to, because I need to pronounce this name properly. And so now it's like a few years ago, you acted in is it La Sensi?
La Sensi, yeah.
La Sensi. And you had a cast of newcomers. What is it like working with the youth, and what is your advice? What do you usually tell the youth when you've got young actors around you?
You know, it's actually l'essence. I've just remembered now. No, it's because it's French. And I worked with Gopala Davies, who I think had studied at Wits, I'm not sure, or Rhodes, I'm not sure. But he wrote this piece, and it was about theatre, it was about Antoine Artaud. And they were all young people. I've always worked with young people, not just teaching them. I've always been in plays with young people. I think that you can't stay connected to the heart of theatre or what. I mean, you're just reflecting human life and culture back to people. That's what we do. So if you're stuck in, if I'm stuck in the 80s still, that's not interesting. You just do kind of retrospective work. I find young people very stimulating, and I find there's a kind of a collaborative synergy between it.
Yes.
I learn new tricks or new techniques or certainly I learn new lingo.
Look, and now you've also played a lawyer, Kate Henson, alongside Vusi Gunen. Amazing chemistry. Whoa, wow, incredible. How do actors develop that kind of chemistry between each other?
I think very often if you respect each other, I think it allows a space for stuff to happen.
Okay.
If that makes sense. It's a liminal space. I mean, Vusi and I we have a very similar sense of humor.
Okay.
He forced me to become a Bucks supporter. And in fact, at the time, we both drove BMW 3 Series.
Okay.
Mine was black, his was white.
Of course.
And he had the Pirates logo at the back, and he got me a white one.
A white Pirates logo.
And I had a Pirates logo. And I think that cemented our relationship. But, in my course of my career, I have played something like 15 to 20 lawyers.
Oh, wow.
So it kind of indicates maybe I should have become a lawyer.
Maybe.
I don't think I would have had as much fun. But it's something that I think my brother was a lawyer. I find legal things interesting. I find legalese. I find the law interesting. I mean, I love watching trials. I absolutely love watching trials. And in fact, when I was at drama school, I don't know if you remember the Biko inquest.
I remember my mom telling my mom taught me a lot about Black consciousness. So I know I've heard it from her.
So it was a transcript of the actual court case. And it was turned into a play reading. And I did it at university, and I set it in a circus. So that the Sydney Kentridge was the what do you call that person, the MC sort of person, and then all the dead bodies were clowns.
Yeah, all the dead bodies, okay.
Were clowns, because they were thrown into the ring, because it was all about people being murdered in detention.
Oh.
So I don't know why I told you that, but my interest in law, was from a very early age, and in justice, I suppose, I really believe in fairness and justice. So I left it the chance to play Justice for All.
Wow. Like you said, you've prepared many a times as an actor, even as this lawyer, Kate Henson, for example. How do you prep for such roles? I mean, there's legal jargon, there's the walk and the voice, like you'd say. So how do you prep for such roles?
So I played the first lawyer I ever played in Born in the RSA. Ooh. And that was working with Barney Simon. And so I went and I was playing a human rights lawyer then, and I sat in the offices of Priscilla Jana, Kathy Satchwell. I went and sat in the offices and watched them, observed how they spoke to clients, what it was like, chaotic. It was at a time when there was the detention of the young children, and it was absolutely like the waiting rooms were just full of mothers looking for their children. It was a terribly dramatic time. And so I suppose, I always say that as an actor, the more general knowledge you have, the better actor you are. I also teach for musicals, but I'm not a singing coach. Although I've appeared in musicals and I've won awards for musicals, I'm not a singer. I'm an actress that sings. But with voiceovers, it's a very lucrative industry. And the voiceover market now, especially with digital movies and, cartoons and that. It's a huge market. I mean, you even saw like Robin Williams, Eddie Murphy, he played the donkey and that in Shrek. And so I teach a lot of animation voices at animation schools and that sort of thing. So I teach, honestly, if you ask me if I can teach something, I'll say yes. So I even taught people how to speak Arabic. And I don't speak Arabic, but I went to an Arabic school for a day and learnt the phonetics of it. And
the phonetics.
Yeah, phonetics. So it's all about phonetics. It's all about how you say I, whether if you're saying it in Southern America, you would say, I'm gonna go, right? Okay. I'm gonna go. So South Africans say, I'm gonna go. So it's very easy for them to do Southern American as opposed to I'm going to go.
Oh, wow.
Can you see the difference?
I see it.
So I teach, really, if anybody came to me and said, can you teach me how to be, I teach cooks. I teach master chefs and people like that. There's a very interesting tip here. Yes. You will notice that Americans never speak and smile at the same time.
They never
smile and speak at the same time. South Africans, how's it? How are you? I'm fine. You know what I mean? Americans will say, and I'll do Obama, he will go, we will win this election because we can. And God bless America. He doesn't go, we will win this election because, it's amazing. And that immediately gives you authority. And it's a tiny little thing.
Oh my God, my mind is completely blown. And you do voiceovers as well?
I do voiceovers, yeah.
Like for who? Where have I heard you?
So at the moment I'm doing A&G, which is auto in general. We're never not there. But I've done a whole lot of, I was once hired specifically for, do you remember the phone HTC?
Yes, right. I've had one.
So they phoned me and they said to me, We've listened to your voice. We've chosen you specifically. Oh, I was so kind of, And I got there and he said, can we play you the reference? And it was Lilo and Stitch. I had to do, hi, Earthlings. I was so disappointed that it wasn't my mellifluous voice. So I had to, when when you turn your phone on and Nokia used to go ding, 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 ding. So with the HTC, it used to be, what's up, Earthlings? That was my voice.
That was you. Yes. You did it.
So, I do all sorts of things. I'm known really for character, for accents, for character voices. I do a lot of old ladies, what I mean? Like, because that is so, I really am kind of like a vocal artist. I can speak with Italian accent, French, German. So, you're known for all that sort of versatility, I suppose.
How long did it take you to master all of this? I
think some people are good mimics. You know what I mean? I think some people are good mimics. If you look at Trevor Noah, yes. Trevor's assimilation of accent is incredible. It really is incredible. But as I said, I taught him. So I taught, if you have an ear, you can teach. I can usually teach an accent to anyone. But it's difficult if a person is dyslexic because often you need a reference.
Okay.
So, for example, I'm going to teach you American now.
Okay.
Just one short say. Okay. Yes. I'm going to say, I'm going to ask you to say, can I pat the pet?
Can I pat the pet?
So I want you to think of E-H-N.
E-H-N.
C-E-H-N.
Can.
There we go. There you go. Can A-A-A-H.
Can I
pat, P-E-H-T.
Can I pat
the, T-H-A-H, the P-E-H-T.
Pet.
So can I pat the pet?
Can I pat the pet?
Can you see? So it's really the consistency. So for us, it would be, can I pat the pet?
Ooh,
can you hear? That's phonetics. So can. And the reason why their South African white accent is very difficult to do is because we have two eyes. So you've got shoot a brick, okay?
Yeah.
So it's shoot a brick. So what they say, because they're both eyes,
Yes.
people will say shut a brook or sheet a brick. Do you see what I mean? So it's very, very complicated. It's a very complicated accent, actually. But of course, when people phone me and say, can you do a South African accent? Can you teach a South African? I say, which one? You know? And so I taught Idris Elba to be Mandela. But I would never do that without, and I've said this earlier, I would never do it without having an isiXhosa coach with me.
Oh, okay.
Because, that is the real deal.
Yes.
I'm just the technician that can say, "Iko." That's where you do the mouth, you put them in the, you know what I mean? That's where you put the tongue to make that sound. So I'm like the technician, but the real deal does the lines with Idris Elba.
Wow. What's one of the most interesting requests or calls you've gotten from a client?
I suppose the Arabic was quite interesting because I said, look, I don't speak Arabic. And then I taught. And they said, it's brilliant. So, but I have theories about voice, and I can usually tell whether a person is, what their mother tongue is.
Yeah.
From the way they speak English.
And have you only been asked South Africa, let's say an American is asking for a South African, have you been something that is not South African, like maybe an American asking for a Chinese accent?
Oh, yeah. So recently I taught Luke Hemsworth, one of the Hemsworth brothers.
Okay.
He's Australian.
All right.
I taught him a Louisiana accent. Okay. I taught Tom Hopper, who was in Black Sails with me, I taught him a Rhodesian accent.
Okay.
Not a Zimbabwean, a Rhodesian, because it was from that time.
So even the accent from back then, from it being Rhodesia to now it being Zimbabwe, has changed.
Totally.
Okay.
Totally. I mean, if you think about it, when you look at how, in South Africa, how we used to pronounce clean, it was CL was very clean. Now, because of all the clicks and because of it's clean. And it's got almost like a click in there. So it's changing all the time.
On WhatsApp chats, it's one of our slang. Oh, that was clean. My friend spells it with a T. It's always TLE.
Clean. But that's what's so fascinating about language and about voice, is how it changes,
If you can't get the shot on set, you can get it at Mad Show Library. We've got the best in stock footage and archive. Just go to www.madshowlibrary.com. Wow, I'm enjoying this interview a lot. This one's high up there. It seems like, from what I'm seeing, even from the research, it seems like you've done a lot of international work, and it seems like that's where you seem to play. Like Black Sails. Tell us about that.
So Black Sails was an extraordinary project because it was in Cape Town, and they hired the entire Cape Town studios, which are massive. And I was playing another brothel owner. I'm not a lawyer, I'm a brothel owner. And the character, it was very interesting because you go down, you get flown down for a costume fitting and flown back that night. You get flown down for a script read, you get back that night. I mean, they have quite a big budgets. And then you fly down the day before, and then and because it's a period drama, you're in makeup for 4 hours. I had a wig and all sorts of things, and it's very, very, and then you're in a corset, and but it was incredible because there's no such thing as when you read the script, there's no such thing as saying, can I change this or can I do that? You stick to the word. You sometimes can say to the director, I would prefer to invert the line. Like, instead of saying, listen to me, I won't do that, you say, I won't do that, just listen to me. You're inverting the line. But everything has to be, because it's literally, it's a money-making machine. That's what those things are. And the thing is that if you argue or discussions, it's all money. It's all time. It's all money. So you're very aware of that it's kind of pressurized, but you have to stick to the scripts. There's no sort of ad-libbing. There's nothing like that, unless you're one of the main leads. Maybe you're there. But then they speak to you before the next episode's written. And you discuss your character and what you think, and they use that. So that's why their script writing is so good is because they're actually using bits of information from the actual actors themselves who are, in the thing. But I was also in Maze Runner 3 in the film, which was wonderful. And a lot of people saw it all over the world, which was great. I was in, what was that thing called? I forget, Homeland. I was in Homeland as well. And that's wonderful being in those international films. Wonderful.
Incredible. What's the difference, locally and internationally? What is it that we need to do, if I can say it, to catch up? What do we need to add and or take away?
We have some of the best crews in the world in South Africa.
We do.
Because South Africans know how to work.
Yeah. True.
And, when you work on a film in England or America, it's to the clock. As that clock hits lunchtime, it tools down. Whether you're in the middle of it, it's very unionized and very strong and all that sort of. South Africa, we'll go for the last, martini shot, let's go, and people say, we're going to go 5 minutes over. There's a passion here from that point of view. And we've got very, very good technicians, cinematographers, DPs, all of that. So that's not the issue. We've got very good actors.
True.
Phenomenal actors.
Brilliant.
But we don't have great script writers. Our script writing lets us down. I really believe that. I met a guy that won an Oscar for a movie once, and he was British, and he was headhunted by Americans for them to do his new script. Yeah. And they located his whole family to LA. Yeah. The little girl went to school and everything, and he went in for a meeting. He was there for about 2 weeks, and he's kept on saying, but this isn't the script. He had like 12 writers around the table. He said, this isn't my script, you're changing it. After 2 weeks, he went home, they'd moved him back to London.
Are you serious?
Because he was arguing too much. He was not doing. He said, "You're just going to." So they take your idea and they turn it into like a sausage machine. So I'm not advocating that that's necessarily the best way, but I really think we need to. I think our writing needs to be more nuanced. Yes. It needs to not be kind of so. And I think it's come through our political history. I really do, because everything needs to touch on. On that. It's informed a lot. I'm not saying it shouldn't, but I think there are different ways of expressing it or of telling the stories about it.
So true, man. I remember when Shidi was here, and she was saying there's so many actors that she's seen in the same kind of role, and she used one of our greatest actors, Israel, but they always cast him as a thug type of thing. And she was on I'd like to see him play a father, like a difficult father, maybe, so I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't think we give space to breathing space to the many facets of our cultures and our lives in South Africa. It tends to be kind of, if you look at soap opera world, all the storylines have all been done in every single permutation in all of the different stories. There's a kidnapping, there's a this, there's a that, there's a wedding, there's a this, there's a divorce, and
wedding's always big.
And it's a kind of thing. There are only a certain amount of stories available. So that's not what I'm really talking about. I'm really talking about more movie scripts. More film when we deal with film. And isn't it exciting that Cindy Lee and David Lee have just been nominated for an Oscar for their short film called The Ranger?
Incredible.
Hey? It's incredible. Just wonderful. I hope they win. I hope they bring it home.
Oh, man. I'm about to close this. Oh, this is one of the best interviews ever. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What are your plans moving forward? You've done so much. You've done a lot.
So when I graduated, so I'm a doctor.
Okay.
I graduated at Wits about a month ago, and I decided that I'd reached the pinnacle of academia.
Okay.
And so I've got to go back to my roots. I've got to go back to theatre.
You're going back to theatre?
I'm going back to theatre. I will do the odd film, but, I'm never going to be cast as a lead in a film unless I make it myself. I do have 2 stories that I'm trying to get filmed with me as the lead. And watch the space. That might happen.
It's going to, not might. It's going
But I'm going to Cape Town to do Julius Caesar.
Lovely.
And I'm playing Julius Caesar.
You're playing Julius Caesar?
Yes. And then later in the year, I go to Salzburg for the Mozart Festival to play Maria Callas. But I don't sing, fortunately. Someone sings for me. So there are lots in the pipeline. Lots and lots and lots. And I'll just got to keep going.
That's beautiful. I'm going to close it on one note. If you're just going to give me a second. Give me a second. Up here. We wanted to just literally and figuratively give you your flowers.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful. It's been great.
This was amazing. Everyone who's going to watch this is going to be blown away. I am blown away and I'm inspired by you. I'm inspired so much. Thank you for everything that you've done.
And if there are young filmmakers out there, I'm an old white girl, but I can still do it.
Yes, you can.
Ask me. Thank you so much. It's been wonderful. Wonderful being here.
God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you.
It feels good every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. It feels good every day when every African turns and shines my way. All my brothers from Zaire, Ethiopia, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. Oh, man, it feels good.
For more amazing content, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And please follow us on all our social media pages. Love.